folks. Well, welcome to this week's version of Leading the Holy Cross Way. I want to welcome our students back. Thank you all. Again, we do this on Football Fridays, and it's really hard to do it on a Football Friday when the weather is as beautiful as it is today. So thank you for being as consistent as you are. It says a lot about who you are to be here. You're here to strengthen yourself, to grow, to learn, to become better versions of yourselves. And thank you to the guests that are here. We've got guests from the town. We've got guests from across the street. We have some of our own students who are not students enrolled in this class, but they want to be here to learn and to grow. And we have some parents that are here as well. We have a spouse that's here, spouses that are here too. And we have some faculty members that are here. So we welcome you all. We'll begin in prayer. Okay, so in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Today is the feast of Mother Theodore Guerin, who is the foundress of the Sisters of Providence. And the Sisters of Providence were founded by Father Shuck, who also is the founder of the Brothers of St. Joseph. And it was the Sisters of Providence and the Brothers of St. Joseph who went into the towns and villages in France following the French Revolution with those marching orders to teach young people all that they should know, to do all the good that they could do while they were there, and to be disciples with hope to bring. And they went in with the message of Jesus that said, I came so that you may have life and have life abundantly. And Lord, we know that the message that Jeff Shuck brings us today is that all of us may have life and have life abundantly. Lord, I was so blessed by Jeff's message in his book, Leading with Light, a message that he's going to bring to us today. We thank you, Lord, for that message that he's been bringing to the world. Continue to bless him, continue to bless these students, and as they walk out of here today, we know that they will also bless the world. We make this prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So a quick message I wanted to share that's been heavy on my heart today as we introduce Jeff here in a moment. Jeff, thank you for taking our mission statement and two of the tenets of a Holy Cross leader, competence to see and courage to act, and putting that into motion as part of your talk and integrating that into your talk. This past Sunday, I attended the 10 a.m. Mass here on our campus. It's mostly members of the village that go to that Mass, but it is open to our students here that live on campus if you want to attend that. By the way, it's like 35 minutes long, so if you sometimes go to Mass and it's too long, this is a quick one. But the priest preached on something that really moved me, and it brought me actually back to my high school days attending a Holy Cross high school. And I remember a psychology class, a psychology professor teaching about the bystander effect. Right? Anybody know what the bystander effect is? Any psychology majors out there? Come on, there's got to be one of you that's heard of the bystander. Okay, Gretchen, tell us.
Well, I need to think. Hold on.
You can kind of think about what's a bystander.
Well, it's like when someone sees something but doesn't feel obligated to do anything because they're just they're not involved, but they still actively see it happen.
Right, so you see it happen, right? And I remember, anybody else want to add to that? Right, there's a whole psychology around it, and to be honest with you, you got a psychology background, I don't really remember all the psychology around it, but it's exactly what you said. It's when you see something that's going on, and you know it's wrong, but you don't want to get involved, right? For one reason or another, you don't want to get involved, right? So you see it, but you don't act on it. It takes courage to act on it, right? Competence to see, courage to act. I remember hearing about the bystander effect when there was a woman in New York City in Central Park who was being brutally attacked by another person in Central Park. And there were all sorts of people that saw this happen, right? Think about the Good Samaritan, right? There was somebody who had been beaten up, right? The story of the Good Samaritan in the Bible, right? There had been somebody who had been attacked by robbers, and there were others that walked by them, but it was the Good Samaritan that crossed the road, right, and then helped that person and gave that person money and then brought them to an inn and made sure that they had what they needed, right? The bystander effect is a fact of life for a lot of people. But part of the Holy Cross way is not only possessing the competence to see, but then acting with courage so we don't fall prey to the bystander effect. The priest talked about the bystander effect as the sin of indifference. Right, so part of what we're called to as Holy Cross women and men is to possess the courage to act. And I think the message that we're going to hear today is also going to challenge us to have the courage to act as Holy Cross women and men. And so a really great pleasure for me to introduce you to Jeff Shuck. I'll tell you that the way that I met Jeff was, when I meet with people here in the town, I feel like I'm on a treasure hunt. Now look, a part of my job is raising money, but I also like to learn ideas, and I like to meet people with ideas, and I like to meet people who know people with ideas. And I just like to be stretched. I like my imagination to be stretched, and that's the treasure that I'm always hunting, are people who have ideas and have big imaginations, and they're striving for something really important and making a difference in the world. And so one of our Board of Trustees members, Iris Hamill, who's really an influential leader in our community here in South Bend, said, "Hey, have you met this guy, Jeff Shuck?" And I said, "Well, no, I've not met Jeff Shuck." Well, he and his wife, Jeannie, are really influential people here in this community. They just moved to the Michiana region. Jeff's written a book called Leading with Light. Marco, I think you'll really connect with this book, so I immediately ordered the book and I read it in a couple of days, and gosh, just really, it was one of those books that every single word, every single sentence, every single paragraph just made me stop and think about. Really amazing book, Jeff. You and your partner, your previous business partner wrote. It was really incredible, based on your whole history of business consulting and the things that you were doing. And I told you, what I tell you, I'm one of those people that looks to the back of a book and says, "Hey, if you're interested in talking to this author, then contact them." And what do? I encourage you to do, reach out to them. I reached out to Jeff. And then we met a couple of weeks later, and here we are. Jeff accepted the invitation to speak to all of you today. And we've remained in touch. We had dinner, he and his wife Jeannie, just about a week ago. She does incredible work with a foundation called the JWAS Foundation, where they're helping small children and families to be able to get an education all the way through college, pay for a private education all the way through college. Really remarkable work, incredible work. So I'm really privileged today to introduce you to Jeff Shuck, who will share with you an inspirational message of living life with the competence to see and the courage to act. So help me to welcome Jeff Shuck.
Thank you. Quick tip, save the applause to the end. You don't know if it's any good, right? But thank you for that. Thank you for the gift of your time on this incredible day. I thought about petitioning Professor Clark to let us have class outside. It is just a stunner out. So I appreciate you being here, making the choice to be here and listen to me. And my commitment to you is that it's time well spent. That at 3:30 or 3:15 or whenever we conclude together, that you say that was worth my time. That's what we get, right? We get our time. We get to choose how we want to allocate it. And so I appreciate being here and allocating it to me. Okay. First of all, here's my favorite dad joke right now, and I've got so many dad jokes. Sorry, but how do you know if someone's written a book? They'll tell you. So thank you, Dr. Clark, for saving me the punchline of the joke that I wrote a book, as he said, called Leading with Light. I actually didn't write a book, I co-wrote a book, and I have to tell you, after co-writing a book, it's gotta be harder than writing a book, because you are blending viewpoints with someone else for a year, and it is just the ultimate process in partnership, maybe only second to marriage, which I'm gonna talk about here in a little bit. And so when I met Dr. Clark in, I think, January or February, we talked about the book, we talked about Holy Cross, and I would have told you maybe in February or March when he said, "Can you come in October?" I would have told you I was going to talk about the book. I was going to talk about the principles of the book and why we wrote it and what it was about and like why it makes a difference to you, and book is what I was thinking. Until we had dinner last week. We had dinner with Dr. Marco and his lovely wife Peggy, and I got to listen for a bit, and I got to just hear about Holy Cross in a way that maybe I wasn't hearing when I was talking to him about the book. And something hit me during the dinner. We had a great dinner and better conversation, and it occurred to me, one of the things I tell my clients is, don't tell people about yourself. Go where the people are and listen to them. And put your words in a way that they can hear it. And right, that's, if you learn nothing else from what we talked about, that's leadership. We go out into the world and we meet people where they are, and we speak in a way that they can hear us. And I kind of came back from dinner saying, man, I was just so full of this book that I should learn more about Holy Cross, and maybe I'll find some inspiration. And it took me 10 seconds to find this mission everywhere you look about Holy Cross, and it really struck me for a lot of reasons that I want to share. And so rather than talking about what I wrote and asking you to fit it into your world, I want to tell you what this means to me and how I interpret it and why I interpret it that way, okay? And I hope that it is language that is meaningful to you. And I hope to also share some of what I've picked up on the way. I want to tell you, this picture is really important to me. We're all walking. We're all trying to practice something, right? We're all trying to practice how to be great citizens, how to be caring to each other, how to make a difference in the world. And I'm on the same path. You know, I'm a few laps ahead of some of you, age-wise, but I don't claim to know that I've got it figured out. I don't. And I think that's another characteristic of leadership I'd share with you and ask you to play with. So I'm practicing too, and everything I share, it might not fit with you. So I invite you to, like you're going to try on clothes, try it on and see what fits, right? It might not all work for you, and that's okay. I'm not selling anything. Dr. Clark already bought the book, right? I'm already here. I'm just trying to share my testimony with you. And so take what works and leave what doesn't. But here may be one of the things we'll play with as we explore seeing and acting. Maybe take notice of the places, the topics that you find yourself saying, I'm out. I don't agree with this at all. That's not the way I view the world. Like where you find yourself getting maybe a little resistant, reacting, pushing, resisting, maybe treat that as a little invitation to explore, right? Safe place. Why do I think that? Why do I not like that idea? Why is that idea interesting to me? Why does that idea make me intimidated or anxious or whatever, right? The conversation I'm most excited about is not the conversation where I'm speaking at you or the conversation that you're going to have with each other, because it isn't just going to be me talking at you, I promise. It's the conversation you're having with yourself. The conversation you're having with yourself all the time is the most important conversation. I'm too busy for this. I can't finish the assignment. Why didn't she call me back? Maybe I should have had tacos for lunch. I can't wait for the game tomorrow. The constant narrative that we're all having with ourselves, that's the conversation I want to bring your attention to, okay? So that's what we're going to explore a little bit together. With me?
Yes.
Okay, please, come on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Look, we're in this together. There's another thing to take away, right? We're all in it together. It's easier together. So thank you for that. Okay. There's so many things I love about this mission. And when I first read this mission, I was pulled to what Dr. Clark started to talk about a little bit. Like, we have to be willing to call our own number, right? It's a contact sport, life. We don't get to sit and watch everyone else, although most people choose to do that. So we have to decide to do something. And I love that is in the mission. I love it's strong. It's a call to action for all of us. But I actually have spent most of my career on this other part. And that's the part I want to talk about. The competence to see. It's such an interesting thing, right? Like, we all see. Why do we need to be trained to see? You can see at birth. Some of your most vivid memories are probably things that you saw, things that you wish you didn't see, things that you want to see again. We actually watch things repeatedly so we can learn about them. So what is this? Why is that even there? And a lot of my work, actually, a lot of my career has ended up, without me intending it all the time, has ended up being about like exploring that idea, like why do we need to learn how to see? How do you learn to see? How do you learn to see? So we're gonna practice it a little bit, okay? Life's a contact sport, stand up. Not a rhetorical question. You're gonna need to probably get into the hall here, or get into the aisle, I mean. Find someone you don't know. Find someone you don't know, and share with them your favorite thing about fall. What's your favorite thing about fall? Not a rhetorical question, find someone you don't know. This is so much better.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what you saw. What did you notice? Not what you heard, not what you shared. What did you notice? What did you see? Yes?
Smiles, shaking hands.
Excellent. Smiles. What else? What did you see? Yeah.
Well, I can at least speak for my conversation. I'm sure this was the case with many other conversations, but it kind of deviated from the original question.
Yeah.
And we began speaking about other things.
No one can stick to the script, right? Okay. You can shout it out. You don't have to raise your hand. What else did you see? What did you see?
Nervousness to talk to a stranger.
Nervousness. Yep. Tough. A bunch of people cheating, I noticed. Kind of vaguely looking at the other person and then turning back to the person you noticed. That was noted. What else?
Openness to share.
Openness to share. Okay. Let's go to that, doctor. Excellent. What did you hear? Anyone? No, please.
Background, where different people live, and things they're interested in.
Yeah. What else did you hear? What themes did you hear?
Maybe their goals for their life, or plans that they have.
Goals for their life. Listen to that. The question was your favorite thing about fall. And in 2 minutes, we got goals for your life. Isn't that interesting? What else did you hear? I love that answer. Anyone else? What did you notice? Yeah, Jackson.
I noticed, well, like obviously keeping the conversation going, but stories that revolved around fall and in their life.
Yeah, we all want to share.
Storytelling.
Right? And then anyone notice, what did you see at the end?
It was nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you.
Handshakes.
Handshakes. And I said, take 1 more minute. What happened at the end? It kind of petered out. Everyone sat down. We were going to do a second question, but I thought that was fascinating, right? So just want to put a pin in that. Like, community needs encouragement. We're communal, but sometimes leaders just have to be the people to push the domino a little bit, and sometimes you have to be the people to crank the engine again, right? So it's important to just know that. Okay, so what's the point of all of that? Seeing starts with listening. We want to explore the competency to see. Seeing starts with listening. One question gets us about fall, which could be about leaves, color changing, sports, reminds me of growing up, reminds me of my mom, makes me think about what I want to be for my kids, makes me want to have a safe home. We went from the color of leaves to what I want for my life really quickly. Seeing starts with listening. Listening needs space. We make space for each other. We hear, right? So I want to share a little story, a little bit of background about me. And I'm going to say again, not so you trust me or understand my background, but I want to share an experience with listening. I want you to trust yourself, but I want to share how I got to that place. One of the first times I can remember listening, hearing something differently, and it changed my entire life. And you're going to see I'm a softie. I don't make apologies for that. It's how I express my passion. It's how passion comes through me. So I'm not going to be uncomfortable if I cry, so you don't need to be either. But just to set the stage, this happened in a suburb of Cleveland, kind of a very plain suburb where I grew up. I don't know the exact day, but it had to be January 10th or January 11th, 1999, and I'll tell you why. I don't know the day in a second, but why I know when it was. And it was like, you can't make this stuff up. It was one of those Midwest days in the winter where it's not snowing, it's like raining. You know, those like South Bend days, although this was in Cleveland, it was exactly the same. It's like 33, sleeting sideways. And I was in the basement. There wasn't even a window, in the basement of a hospital. And someone I had never met, ever, I had never seen this person before in my life, said, "There's nothing more we can do." And he was talking about my mom. And he was right. She died the next day, or 2 days later, that's what, I'm not fuzzy, on January 12th, 1999, of cancer. Ironically, on my dad's birthday. So when I think of my dad, I think of that day in the basement. And it was sad and transformative for me, because I can tell you, I heard something. Listening, I heard something. Instantly, as clear, and at Holy Cross, I can tell you, to me, in my belief, it was the voice of God. Maybe another place I would say it differently. But I believe I heard something, and what I heard was this line: "There's always more to do." I just felt that in the richest country in the world, at the most abundant time in the history of civilization, that we should never say, "There's nothing more we can do," about anybody. And we definitely should not say that about my mom. So it changed the course of my life, definitely changed the course of my career. My wife and I, young wife and I, were living in Utah at the time. I was in the software world, and I basically, in my late 20s, convinced a fundraising company to hire me with no fundraising experience, and started to lead fundraising campaigns to raise money for cancer treatment, cancer prevention. That company went bankrupt after a couple years. The path's always funny, everyone. It's never the path that you think you want, but you walk the path you get. So I got this great job making a difference. The company went bankrupt. And that ended up being great, because it led me to found a company called Event 360 that still exists today, a company of a couple hundred people. And I was the CEO, leading a big team as a young person, raising millions of dollars a year for cancer first. And after 12 years of doing that, that led me to create a company, Plenty, that did strategic consulting for nonprofits and groups making a difference. And through that work, through that one idea that there's always more to do, I was escorted into this lovely world of service and challenge and growth and sometimes heartache, working with amazing organizations, and those are some of them. Just by listening, just by hearing something differently. And I've tried so many times to say, like, were there other times in my life that I have heard something like that? And I'm sure they were. I don't know if I was always paying attention, right? But that one point, "there's nothing more we can do," became something really important to me. It's almost the most important thing I've ever done, save for being lucky enough to marry someone who's in the room, and lucky enough, you talk about launching an event, having 4 kids. That's what they looked like a long time ago. That's kind of what they look like now. We got a 5th daughter-in-law to be right there. And that's been the best project of my life, with the exception of better only than the work products, right? And all those worlds came together earlier this year, and Dr. Clark alluded to this, when my partner in Plenty said to me in March, I really don't want to do this anymore. And it was an interesting invitation to listen again, because I wanted to debate with her. We have this great company, we help all these people, we should keep doing this. But I was old enough, I think, or wise enough, or tired enough, or all of it, to just listen to what she was saying. She didn't want to do the work anymore. And so it was an invitation to listen again about what I want to do and what's available to me. And this time I didn't have to do it myself, because I have this wonderful family now who helped me create my company now, which is called More for Many. And we say we help purpose multiply. And it's an extension, it's the next step of all the work I've done. I hope it's the next step. Working with nonprofits, working with people like you who are purpose driven to help them make a difference. Okay, the point of that's enough about me. That was already too much about me. But the reason I wanted to share all of that is in that process this year of thinking about, well, now what? I realized that it was time to hear something different, that there's always more to do is really, really a powerful principle for me. And maybe after 25 years, I was ready for something different. I've learned that sometimes there isn't more to do. Sometimes what we're invited to do is to be patient. Sometimes what we're invited to do is just be present with someone. Sometimes what we're invited to do is to wait and not solve and fix. And sometimes what we're invited to do is have the courage to act. So the new defining principle, I guess, of my life is not there's always more to do, it's believe in better. Believe that there is more. And that's really where I want to go next. I want to talk about why that's important to me and how it relates. Where are we, Jeff? Why are we talking about this? This started with Holy Cross, and then we went to leadership, and then we went to the competence to see, and now why are we here? And why we're here is I wanted to use all of that as a way of saying, when we listen, we can learn from ourselves. If seeing is part of leading the Holy Cross way, and then I'm asking you to consider listening as part of seeing, when we listen, we learn. So these are going to be a little more personal. Stand up. Find someone you don't know. When was the last time you were so engaged in an activity that you lost track of time? When was the last time you were so engaged in an activity that you lost track of time? Not a rhetorical question. Freeze. My wife is already shushing me, so we must be really... Okay, what do you notice? Forget about the question for a second. What do you notice? What do you notice? What do you notice? Just shout it out. What did you notice?
A lot of people are laughing.
A lot of people are laughing. We asked about laughing, and there was more laughter. What else did you notice?
Louder.
It's louder? What else did you notice? This is the third time we've done a group. Was it easier to get into a new group or harder? Easier. Gets easier with practice. We go out and meet people in the world. It gets easier as we do it. Okay, let's talk about the content. What kinds of things did you hear people say? When's the last time you laughed so hard you cried? What were you doing?
Hanging out with your friends.
Hanging out with your friends. People again, that's interesting, right? What else?
Work related.
Work related. Be more specific.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, that's all. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Notice we're all laughing. We don't even know what it's about. It's contagious, right? The thought of you laughing makes me laugh. I don't even know what it was. What else? What else? What else did you hear?
He's with his friends playing basketball.
How many of you talked about something that was hard to describe to someone else because you're not even sure why it was funny at the end of it, right? Okay. All of a sudden, we're out of the realm of thinking. I can't really describe to you, but it was hilarious. Is a comment I hear a lot. Okay. We're gonna do one more. Here's further instructions. All of the people who've been lurking over here, you need to move over to this side. All of you lurkers over there, you gotta move. Well, some of you do, or else we'll just have we'll just mirror image. Let's do one more. When did you last feel a sense of calm peace come over you? When did you last feel a sense of calm peace come over you? Yeah.
People in the middle.
People are in the middle. Nice. We met together. Metaphor that I didn't intend, but I love it. What do you notice about the energy on the question about calm peace versus the question about joy? It's very noticeable. Calmer? Much calmer. What if it's that simple? We ask a question about calm, we get a calmer room. We ask a question about joy, we start laughing. It's interesting. Okay, let's talk about the question itself. When's the last time you felt calm peace? When's the last time you felt calm peace?
When you got through something tough that you were like dreading going through, or
Yeah, okay, something's done and completed. What else? Yeah, just shout out.
At Mass.
At Mass. I heard a few people say Mass. Yeah, what else?
When you're like going through something really hard, but you never realize it's out of your hands, so you don't need to worry about it.
Ah, great comment. We're going to come back to that. Realizing something is out of my hands. That world gets bigger. The world of things out of our hands, right? As we start to see. Yeah, okay, so come applause for yourselves. That was better than the round of applause you gave me. I just want to know. Right? Like, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to trust people. It's like, oh, I'm doing it because I'm in this class. I got to do it. But thank you. Thank you for playing, for participating. That's a lot of getting off the field or getting out of the seats and getting onto the field. So a point I want to make, just like hearing, there's always more to do. Like hearing that all the time. Right? Stop interrupting. We're hearing things all the time. Messages about calm, messages about joy, messages about what we like and don't. Most of us get great at interrupting those, talking ourselves out of those. But I want to give you something that I feel is true. That those feelings, so we talked about engagement. When do I lose track of time? I'm so engaged with something that I'm just in it. Or joy, you know, I'm laughing so hard I don't even know what I'm laughing about anymore. I'm laughing because you're laughing, right? Or calm, I've let go. I trust, it's all gonna work out. Like, that's home base. That's home base. Competence to see, if it starts with listening, I want you to start by listening to you. You know, I said it at the beginning, it was not a speaker trick to get you to trust me when I said, I want you to trust you. That was not my way of trying to manipulate you into trusting me. That was like, you know what works. You are getting information about it all the time. Stop interrupting it. You know when something is off. You know when you go into a room, maybe you go into a party that someone invited you to that you don't know anyone there, and you just get a sense of like, something's going down, I don't like this. Trust it, right? You also know when you meet someone and you're attracted to them and you just want to engage with them, and you don't even know anything about them. You can trust that too. You are getting constant feedback from yourself. Don't interrupt it. Listen to it. Here's another activity. Does everyone have a handout? You don't necessarily need it. I just want to make sure that you have it. We're going to do this in two parts. I want you to spend 2 minutes on your own, and then we're going to get into groups. Okay. So listening. God's talking to us all the time. Stop interrupting. What emotions could you choose if you could choose your emotions? Just take a look at the list. You don't need to overthink it, but circle the ones. Let's say this, circle 5. The 5 emotions you would choose if you could choose. How you felt. Which ones would you choose? Which ones would you choose? Not a trick question, there's no trick here. Okay. Got them? No, everyone's. Okay. You don't have to stand up, but I want you to get in groups of like 2 or 3 or 4. Okay? So turn to the people next to you and share. Which one would you choose? All right? You felt like a reluctant audience. I'll just put it that way. So let's talk about what kind of emotions did you choose? Joyful. Peace. We know what we want. Now, when I do this exercise with CEOs and business leaders and hard-charging people, and someone always says, well, it's nice and all, but you can't choose. Right? Like, I'm a leader because we can't always be happy. Like, I get that a lot. This is the way it works. I don't know how it works in fundraising, but you got to know in my company, like, I'm sure that's working great. Wow, everybody's miserable all the time. Is that good? You make a lot of money at that? Misery? It's an interesting product. So one thing that I talk about to my kids a lot, it's become kind of a joke, I talk about it so much, is worry doesn't work. I'm gonna tell you a super quick story. In 2015, 2016, I don't know, 10-ish years ago, I was really struggling with the work I was doing and struggling with just needing to grind on everything. It wasn't that gratifying, and I was stressed out a lot, and I got great feedback from my family that you're bringing home a lot of things that we don't want here. So at New Year's, we went away on New Year's, and you make resolutions. We're kind of a big resolution family, setting goals. And we were all going around, sitting around, Jeannie and I, our little kids at the time, and I said, I'm gonna give up worry. And everyone kind of laughed, like, that's kind of silly. I'm gonna give up worry. And I was like, no, seriously, I'm gonna give up worry. Because I was listening enough to see that I was using worry for something. It was doing something for me. I was choosing it, even though it actually doesn't have any impact. You know that, right? Like, your stress doesn't impact situations, except potentially your health. And so I coined this phrase, worry doesn't work. I put it on my Facebook page. And it was such a joke. Like, I coined it because it was a joke to me. I woke up on January 1st going, that was a dumb resolution. But every day I would just look at it. Worry doesn't work, worry doesn't work, worry doesn't work. Maybe I can pick the things that do work, right? So the first point I want to make is, just so we're clear, you worrying about something doesn't actually do anything about it. But here's where I want to get, and I actually wrote this on the handout, because this is where it gets a little bit of curriculum that you don't have to believe. I'm just sharing with you what I think I've learned about the competence to see. Most of the people I work with think of their thoughts as the result of something else. The way that, like, if you eat a bad taco, you get a stomachache, right? We kind of see ourselves like at the receiving end of things. So we read the news. Oh, the news is terrible. We get an assignment, we get a bad grade. It's like, that Notre Dame loses. And like, for example, a belief about stress that we all experience. I have too much to do, so I'm stressed. And so I need to just buckle down, work hard, and get things done, right? I gotta grind it out. Way too much to do. Important me. I've got a lot going on. Okay? Maybe. Maybe. But what if it works the opposite way? What if thoughts are what start the chain? They're not the results. And here's where I'm going to ask you to take another step with me into listening. Listening, listening. God's talking, we're interrupting. What if we stopped interrupting? What if your emotions are God's way of pointing you to the quality of your thinking? Remember, we just talked about we can talk about joy and feel joy. We can talk about calm. The room gets calmer. What if my emotions, instead of being the thing that creates the thinking, are the result of it? I experience feelings of stress, which is actually God's way of telling me I'm working too hard. So I listen and I step back. And when I walk outside, I get perspective. I feel better. I'm sad, right? So a way of thinking about sad is someone said something to me and it made me feel sad. And now I'm going to replay it in my head over and over and over and make a list of all the ways I need to change. Or I'm feeling something that seems sad to me, which is God's way of reminding me that I belong, that I'm a child of God like everyone else, and that I'm meant to be happy. What if it works that way? What would we do? When you realize emotions are indicators of the quality of your thinking, your emotions become an awareness tool. Now, where are we going with this? The competence to see, right? I said seeing starts with listening. I said I want you to listen to yourself. I want you to notice your emotions. I'm bored. I'm agitated. I'm stressed. I'm anxious. I'm trying to fix. I'm happy. I'm content. I'm in the flow. Where did all the time go? Noticing that. Noticing the constant narrative we have in our heads, right? About what we do. So let's talk about this friend. You got this friend. Say you got this friend, right? Your friend is going to make some big changes with their life. Your friend says, do you want to meet me for lunch? I want to tell you about some stuff I'm doing. You say, absolutely. Holy Cross Cafeteria. Can't wait. Best meals in town. Dr. Marco's going to be walking around with a plate of French fries. We're going to get some of those. Your friend says, I need an accountability partner now because I'm running a marathon. I'm doing it. I've been talking about it for years. This is the year I'm doing it. You're like, okay, this is great. Like running, not my thing, but for you, I love it. Like talking about like, and here's my plan, 2 miles this week, 5 miles next week. Signed up for this 10K, gonna be awesome, gonna be amazing. I'm doing the marathon. You're like, great, you're standing in line and you're looking at the food and you're thinking, well, marathon, probably gonna get like tuna salad, right? Gonna get big like chicken breast, maybe, yogurt, like marathon fuel. And the person puts 4 chili dogs on their plate. And a big hamburger, second side of fries, full-on large leaded Sprite. Like, there's no way you wouldn't say, I love chili dogs, by the way. No comment about chili dogs. I would not use that if I was about to run 2 miles, right? Bunch of athletic people in the room, I can tell. Like, do you go to Burger King right before you work out? Even though we love Burger King. I do love Burger King. Whopper with cheese, no onions. But I know it's not what's gonna prepare me to run a marathon. If a friend told you, hold me accountable, I'm gonna do this activity, I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna do an Ironman, and then put that plate of food in front of them, you would be like, you're not gonna get on your run what you think you're gonna get. gonna be a lot more unpleasant, right? And yet, we feed ourselves junk all the time. All the time. No one's gonna like me in this class. I'm new. I can never get this. This material is too complex for me. I don't know, I'm never gonna amount to anything. Nobody ever picks me for what they want. We are constantly feeding ourselves a diet of junk. Stop eating your junk food thinking. Competence to see. Seeing starts with listening. Listening is about noticing our feelings. Our feelings are telling us the junk we're eating, whether it's working for us or not. If you're stressed out all the time, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling unseen, maybe that's not true. Maybe what is true is your thoughts aren't working for you. What if we had the audacity to be happy now? We see ourselves, and I have to tell you, working with so many people who know what I do, who say, like, I want to create positive change. I want to create a difference in the world. The world is broken. It's never been more chaotic. It's never been more awful. We're terrible to people. We think the world is spiraling out of control, and we give away the only thing we have control over is what we think. Here's Jeff lecturing to you, and you can take it or leave it. Leave behind the model now. Leave behind the completely useless model that you'll be happy when ... When you graduate, when you get a job, when you go into the real world, when you join the club, when you get picked for the team, when you gain 20 pounds. Right? You will never be happy when. Be happy now. Be happy now. Change your thinking. Cultivate better emotions. See different results. This is the agency we were given by God. Accept that gift. Accept that gift. Change your thinking. Don't feed yourself a diet of junk, putting yourself down, criticizing yourself, telling yourself you don't belong. It's not true. All of those thoughts, loneliness, despair, stress, are signs that your thinking is broken. We're engineered to feel those thoughts for a reason. It's not because they're real. It's because they're telling us we're off. Just like a feeling of joy, engagement, contentment tells us we're home. A feeling of stress, depression, sadness, loneliness, the epidemic of loneliness that we are living through now are telling us we're in the wrong place. And why do I say this is God's gift to you? Well, you brought up Mass. If you go to Mass, you hear this all the time. Peace I leave you. My peace I give you. Not to everyone else except you. Not to a world without war. We were not promised that. Not to a world without disagreement. We were never promised that either. We were promised we have peace. I have peace. You have peace. You have peace. Peace I leave you, my peace I give you. Richard Rohr says, peace be with you is the most used prayer in the Bible. Doctor, you'll have to tell me if that's correct. I'm not a theologian, obviously. Peace, peace, peace is our birthright. Peace in times of conflict and stress. We were not promised it would be easy. That is nowhere written, but it's very simple. It's very simple. You want peace around you? Start here. This is it. I wish I had some other secret about how you win friends and influence people and mobilize change. I've come to believe in all of that cool work that I told you I did, raising billions of dollars for charity, that this is the biggest impact we can have as leaders. Seeing what's inside and changing it. Because a whole bunch of broken, depressed, angry, codependent people running around is creating a world that's angry, stressed, codependent, prideful, arrogant. You have agency over that by what you're feeding yourself. Feed yourself something worth eating. Okay. So this is where, if you're following the thread I'm trying to share about what I see in this mission, I can hear you saying, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, take care of myself. I get it. Self-care, super important. Yep, got it. I do yoga. You know, I meditate twice a week. But I want to do big things. Oh, I hear this all the time. I want to make big change in the world. Yeah, I'll get to me. All the time people call and ask to talk to me. I don't like what I'm doing now. I want to make a real difference in the world. I want to do something big. And I say, well, what do you do? Well, what do you mean? No, tell me, like, what's your day? Tell me, just walk me through the day. Well, sometimes, you know, I wake up at 7. It's hard to get out of bed. Okay, what do you do when you wake up? Well, you know, I want to check the news. So I grab my phone. I read the news. I can't believe how broken the world is. It's so sad. And so then I go on social and I post about it because someone needs to say something. And then I go into the office, but I don't really like that group of people, you know, the kind of people. On and on and on and on and on. Well, what if we tried something different? What if you woke up at 6 instead of 7? What if you read a verse from the Bible instead of your phone? And then what if you walked outside? You don't understand. I want to make big change. Hey, just try it. I'll make you a deal. You do that for a week, you come back and we'll talk about all the opportunities to have big change. I never have to talk to people after the week. Because a week of that is a total reset. Oh, you know, something funny happened after a week of doing that. All the people at the office were so much better. I don't know, they must be nicer to me because they see I'm walking. Well, maybe. The courage to act, right? Try this on for size. If I feed myself thoughts of overwhelm, I feel stress. I feed myself thoughts of scarcity, there's not enough, and I feel lack. I feed myself thoughts about how unlovable I am and how unlovable I'll always be, and I feel alone. I feed myself thoughts about how broken the world is, and I feel despair. I feed myself thoughts that nothing can change, and I feel like it doesn't matter what I do. Or, I feed myself thoughts that my worth is not based on the quantity of my output, and I let myself rest. I feed myself thoughts about my life of abundance all around. 80-degree day in October at Holy Cross, what could be better? And I feel gratitude. I feed myself thoughts about how we are connected as God's children, and I feel loved. I feed myself thoughts of the beauty of the world, and I feel hope. I feed myself thoughts that one person can make a difference, and I find courage. When you learn to see, the courage will find you. You'll learn the courage to act when you get the competency to see, by being a better listener to how you are, to what makes you happy, to then sharing that with others. It's just that simple, and it's so hard. It's so hard to do. I don't mean to say any of this is easy, but man, that's what it is, gang. We get to choose how we want to be. We get to choose. That's the difference you can make. Make your life worth it by enjoying it, first of all. And notice, when we talked about engagement, joy, contentment, we didn't talk about checking out, abuse. We didn't talk about hedonism, right? We all know the difference between like joy and numbing ourselves. We all know the difference between engagement and feeling guilty that we have to do something. You can trust what you feel. Just don't always take it at face value, okay? I'm lecturing a little bit, and I don't want to do that, so we're going to do one more activity. And then I have some closing thoughts, and we'll see if we're going to go enjoy the day or we want to do quick Q&A or anything. Okay. But this is what I believe. You learn how to see that courage finds you. And then you realize that being who you are, how you were asked to be, and how you were made by God is the act of change that the world needs. Okay, close your eyes. When you feel a tap on the head, you may open your eyes, stand up, and move around. When you feel a tap on the head, you may open your eyes, stand up, and move around. If you feel a tap on the head, you may open your eyes, stand up, and move around. When you feel a tap on the head, you may open your eyes, stand up, and move around. When you feel a tap on the head, you may open your eyes, stand up, and move around. Okay, let's everyone open their eyes. What's your name?
James.
James. What'd you do?
I tapped my head.
You tapped his head. Okay? So this is where the courage to act comes in, and why it's so tied to listening. And this exercise is such a mind bender, so for those of you who feel manipulated, I am sorry. Of no exercise I do, because they create more mental churning. People will say, I knew it was a trick. I wasn't sure. I fell asleep. I did all the things. All the things. This is why I love the competence to see paired with the courage to act. And why I'm trying to share the point I am. Once we see, by listening to us, we know, and then it's not hard to realize, like, I call my own number, right? We must tap ourselves. Your invitation to make a difference in the world is that you were born. That's it. That's it. The yellow brick road is now in front of you. Flourish. But we have to call our own number. This is one of my favorite quotes. And it really does speak to what Dr. Marcos started with about not being a bystander, about the ministry of accompaniment that we talked about, Doctor, about the ministry of presence. It's not just about listening to your emotions and picking a better way of being. That's part of it, okay? But it's not just about self-help and self-care. Self-care is because for not you to get a massage every week and never care about what's happening in the world around you. The goal is not for you to check out. The goal is for you to know I have peace within me that was given to me as my right by God. And I share that around me wherever I am, whether it's peaceful or not, whether it's safe to do so or not. The goal is not you are enlightened and everyone else suffers. I love this quote from an incredible Buddhist monk called Pema Chodron, just Mama Yoda rock star. I mean, she's amazing. Spiritual awakening is frequently described as a journey to the top of the mountain. At the peak, we've transcended all pain. Oh, that sounds great. Continues, unrelieved by our personal escape. The path goes down, not up, as if the mountain pointed toward the earth instead of the sky. Instead of transcending the suffering of all creatures, we move toward turbulence and doubt however we can. To be out in the world, to not be the bystander, and then the courage to not belittle the bystander, to not judge the bystander, to ask the bystander to help, That's the ultimate leadership. We're better together, remember? So I want to say it's what I was really drawn to. The competence to see, in my belief system, is 95% of the battle. Man, if we could conquer that one, if you knew that you were worth it, if you knew that you could control how you wanted to be and feel in the world, we'd be 95% of the way there, but we wouldn't be all the way there. You gotta tap yourself. It's never been easier to be in the cheap seats. Never. To be a critic, to chime in from a safe distance. Oh my gosh, we have so many tools. To nitpick, to criticize, it's never been easier to have a platform, to have a voice, and use it to cut people down. That doesn't get it done, all right? We need you to tap yourself, call your own number, take responsibility for your own well-being, and go out in the world and help other people do the same. It's an inside-out job, but you gotta go out. You gotta get out into the world. And I'll end with what I started with. It's tough practice out there, you know? It's hard to meet people who vehemently disagree with you and say, I love you. I'm sorry for your pain, but it's not mine. Let me show you a better way. Let me model a better way for you. It's really hard. But you're not the only one walking on the path. There's plenty of us. So feel a little tired, take a little rest if you need to. Don't give in to the self-pity. We gotta have you in the game. We gotta believe in something better. I really believe we're at that point where optimism is a huge step in the right direction. Don't let people sell you a bad bill of goods. The world isn't darker than it's ever been. All those people want to sell you light bulbs. You're the light. Last thing, I believe in you, okay? You ever want to call me, talk to me, reach out to me, that's me. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you.